We're back today with a crowd favorite. We've got some of the best new everyday carry gear and gadgets under $50. Let's get into it. First up is a new controller from Gamesir. This is the Pocket Taco. You might remember this from my CES coverage this year, but this is a Bluetooth controller that is made to convert your phone into a retro handheld gaming console. It's such a clever designed idea. It's definitely not perfect, but I've been really enjoying it the past couple of weeks. So it just slides right over your phone here like a taco, hence the name. And it instantly connects via Bluetooth. There's actually sensors in here that will turn it on and connect automatically. If it flips open, it'll shut off when it flips closed. You can boot up the emulator of choice on your phone, and you don't need to use the on-screen touch controls or a separate bulkier Bluetooth controller. It's super compact and lightweight. It only weighs 62 grams. You have a built-in 600 milliamp hour battery in here. It recharges via USB-C. I also really appreciate they have a little hole cut out here to be able to charge your phone while you're using it. You have membrane ABXY buttons and D-pad. I think they feel pretty good, definitely not up to like modern regular controller standards, but it adds that retro feel in my opinion. The buttons are all remappable and everything as well, so you can set it depending if you're using different consoles and things. It's through the Gamesir app. Found it to be pretty intuitive and easy to swap around if you need. It's pretty straightforward overall though. When I saw it at CES, I immediately knew what it was for and I immediately wanted one, and it definitely has lived up to the hype for me. I think it makes, playing some of these retro games on the go a little bit easier compared to bringing a whole separate dedicated handheld. I think this is also a pretty good value option as well, because your phone obviously is going to be a lot more powerful than most of the retro handhelds in a $30 to $40 range like this controller. There are a couple of cons and a couple of things I would like to see changed in the future though. First and foremost, I had a little bit of trouble getting this connected and set up. It comes by default in Android mode. You're definitely going to want to read through the manuals. The mode that seemed to connect and work best for me was the Switch iOS mode, so a little bit of a complicated setup, but it's just ready to go from there on. Another thing I'd like to see is the ability to use this while it's closed. I like that it turns on and off automatically, but it would be really cool to be able to just use this as a dedicated thing if you wanted to prop up your phone with a little tripod, kind of similar to that 8BitDo microcontroller. But having this paired with a good emulator on your phone, I've been using Manic Emu. It has built-in retro achievements as well, which is really fun. Just adds, achievement options for all these old classic games. So if you're a big achievement hunter, it's a nice way to breathe new life into it. It's really nice to use and has a few extra perks because it's your phone. The additional power, like I mentioned, but also the ability, if you want to listen to a podcast or music while you play, you can use your AirPods. It connects and just works a little more seamlessly in that way. $35 for this. I think it's a really great value and a really great option or alternative if you don't want to go the dedicated handheld route. For the AirPods users, I have the Ryan London AirPods Pro 3 case. I picked this up last year after I got the Gen 3s. There were very few options out on the market. I really wanted to go back to leather, and there were even fewer options for that. The Ryan London case here has been excellent though. I saw a ton of people raving about their phone cases too. I'm not really a big phone case guy. The leather quality is really great. It's a full grain leather. I got the saddle color, just this really nice auburn. It's definitely darkened up over the past few months as well since I got it. The tolerances and everything are great. You have cutouts, for the speakers and the USB-C and the lanyard, everywhere you need. The fitment and tolerances are all perfect. It's still compatible with any wireless charging, so if you want to use your Apple Watch charger or any MagSafe chargers, it doesn't add much bulk. And one thing that few people talk about a lot of these cases is there is very minimal branding on here. No gaudy logos stamped into it. I see that so much with leather wallets and things, this big ugly logo. I want the leather to shine and be the star here. So you have a little Ryan London logo on the back, but it's super subtle and I honestly didn't even know it was there until I was prepping for this video. So really good quality leather. They come in at $46. I realize that's not really a budget option. It's still under $50 for the list here. But with that in mind, I'll see if I can find some cheaper alternative options and link them down below. But if you're willing to pay for it, this thing is just about perfect. Really quick, I want to give a huge thank you to INIU for sponsoring this week's video and give you my favorite recommendation from their lineup under $50. That is the P50 Pocket Rocket Power Bank. This was an instant favorite of mine since I first tried it last year. The P50 is one of the smallest 10,000 milliamp hour power banks I've ever tested. It's barely bigger than an AirPods Pro case and only weighs 160 grams or 5.6 ounces thanks to their tiny cell Pro Tech. On top of that, there are a few features here that you rarely see with these really small power banks. It has 45 watt fast charging from either USB-C port, plenty for an iPad or even some laptops. It also has a USB-A port for any older tech and a built-in 60 watt USB-C charging cable in the lanyard. This cable comes in handy all the time. The design is really great and it's super strong and sturdy in the lanyard mode. There's also a display for the battery percentage, built-in safety features, and it's fully TSA compliant. Price is really great too. It's under $30 on Amazon right now. It's honestly a no-brainer for me in so many different situations because it's so light and small. You know, backpacking, bike packing, small, lightweight one-bag travel setups. It's really perfect for all of that stuff. I find myself using it constantly. Be sure to check it out. I've got links in the description down below. Huge thanks again to INIU for sponsoring this week's video. Got something new from Lochby up next. This is the mini venture pouch, essentially just a little baby version of the classic venture pouch, one of my favorites. Such a really cool and unique design. Lochby stuff in general is really great. It's all wax canvas on the exterior, so it's a little bit more of a rugged, cooler look. Prices are super reasonable too. You know, a lot of their stuff's under $50. This one comes out to $45. It's kind of a dual-sided design. On the top here, you have a pretty basic, you know, storage compartment, but you can flip this around and you have a little tool roll. So it's kind of a dual-sided thing. You can put pens or pocket knives or flashlights, whatever you want in here. I've been keeping my lock-picking tools and my practice locks and everything in here since I got it. This is their classic brown color, but I got an email the other week that they launched some new color options for their entire lineup. You know, honey and camel, I think, were my two new favorites, so I got to check that out in person sometime. It measures 7.2 inches by 4 inches by 2.3 inches. It weighs about 5 ounces. The interior fabric is also really nice. Aside from the wax canvas, it's this really nice high-vis kind of mustard yellow with a honeycomb pattern. It looks great and feels great. Again, I just really love all of their stuff. Really unique. I love the wax canvas. Super versatile for what you could use this for. You know, a tech pouch, toiletry kit. You can keep, you know, pens if you do a lot of writing or drawing, things like that. Really solid option. Check out their whole lineup though if you get the chance. Got some new headphones up next. These are the Soundpeats Clip 1. This is an open ear clip-on type of design. Definitely not specific to Soundpeats, but this is the first time I've tried anything of this style. I have to say I really like it. As someone with glasses or that wears sunglasses a lot, you know, it's sometimes those open ear headphones that go around the back can get in the way. These completely avoid that, and I think that style and shape was my favorite feature of these headphones. Inside you have 12mm dual dynamic drivers. The sound overall is pretty good. You know, when you get open ear headphones, you're not really getting it for the high fidelity and the amazing sound quality. I will say they hold their own pretty well with the bass response compared to a lot of other options I've tried. It's not stellar or amazing, but for open ear headphones, I think they sound pretty good. You know, this style, I always say, is something that's going to be ideal for audiobooks and podcasts more so than music. They also have a feature on here. It supports LDAC, so some high-res audio codecs. Again, you know, it's kind of a nice little touch to add on, but you're not really buying these for the sound quality. One thing that made a big difference, though, is setting up the EQ. There is an app here that requires an account, which is a huge bummer, but the EQ settings really make a huge difference. Some of them sound absolutely awful. You know, I got mine kind of tailored in to actually sound pretty good in a place where I'm happy with, so beware with that. You will want to use the app to get everything set up properly the way that you like. Once they're set up though, they are super comfortable and easy to use. They're really lightweight. Each bud weighs about 5 grams. Like I said, I really love that kind of side clip design. They look a little bit like earrings, but I really like it if you wear glasses. If you find yourself getting annoyed with the over ear style, I think this is a perfect solution. You have touch controls on the side, which work pretty well. There's also a play and pause automatically with ear detection, which was a really nice touch. You have 8 hours of battery life on the buds themselves and 40 hours with the charging case. Charges via USB-C, no wireless charging. They come out right now to $56, so a little bit over budget on our $50 option. I actually tried another pair very similar to this from Talix. It was the X6 earbuds. Those are right about $30. They were pretty significantly worse than these though, so I would definitely recommend, you know, upgrading the extra to get these, but I'll link both down below if you want a lower priced option to compare with. But I really like this new style. I'm going to check out a few others in the coming months. Not exactly new, but new to me. This is the InCharge XL 1-foot version. I've been a long time fan of the InCharge lineup, both the really short cable and the long, 2 meter 6-foot version. I finally picked up the in-between size option, the 1-foot here, and I think it might be my favorite. I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't get it sooner. I think it makes it a little bit more versatile than the super short one, and it's just a lot smaller to pack compared to the 6-foot one. If you're not already familiar, this is a 6-in-1 cable design meant to kind of cover whatever sort of tech you want to charge. On one side you have USB-A and USB-C, on the other side you have USB-C as well as a Lightning/micro USB port. So you can kind of connect in whatever combination that you need. Really great if you have random legacy tech with you. A lot of my backpacking gear has micro USB still, or I might just have one random holdout of micro USB, or I still have, a Lightning trackpad to charge on my desk. Annoying stuff like that, it's great to have something like this around. It charges at 100 watts as well, so it's a pretty capable fast charging cable if you want to use it just, USB-C to C on anything newer. Really impressed with the quality. I have seen in the comments over the years people have trouble with these hinges. I've been using them for 3 or 4 years now and I haven't really had any issues. I had it pop off once or twice. It pops right back into place. They upgraded it to metal a while back compared to one of my older ones was plastic, I think, but really happy with it. Pretty reasonable price for a 100-watt USB-C cable, and you get all the extra benefit of charging, those random one-off pieces of tech that you don't want to bring a big cable for. Got a new update from MOFT. This is their classic wallet stand, but now it has built-in Find My functionality. Not a big surprise if you saw the CES content again. I talked about it briefly there. Pretty simple and straightforward here. You have one wallet slot on the back that can hold 1 to 2 cards. It connects to your phone via MagSafe, but now you can pair it with the Find My app. I think it's a really good option if you're someone that's been wanting a MagSafe wallet, but you're worried it's going to slide off and you're going to lose it or something. I think the implementation here is really great. There's unfortunately no precision finding. I don't know if that's only for the AirTags or what, but I didn't see that on here. But you do get a really great tone if you lose it. I thought that was a great touch. And one other thing that was nice, you have built-in MagSafe wireless recharging. So it's not one of those Find My, card trackers that you got to throw away when the battery dies. You can just pop it on any wireless Qi charger, charge it back up, and you're good to go. One thing I would really love to see in the future from them is the invisible tripod wallet updated with the Find My technology. That is my, tripod stand of choice from them. As you all know, I've been talking about that thing for years. This one's a little bit simpler, but still really good for media viewing, just not as good for taking photos and videos like the other. Check it out though, it's really well implemented. I want Find My in all of the things. Got a couple of flashlights to talk about up next. First is the Nitecore TUP2. This is an update from the original TUP that was released back in 2018. It's kind of a medium-sized keychain flashlight with variable color temperature. 1200 lumens of max output. It uses Nightlab MCT UHE LEDs that has 125 meters of throw distance. And you have 3 different color temperature options to choose from. You have a 3000K warm, 4500K neutral, and a 6500K, blue cool type of light. I really appreciate that all 3 color temperature modes have the same max brightness output. Usually it'll combine all of them to get the brightest option, not the case here. It measures 2.76 inches and it's right around 1 inch by 1 inch, weighs 2 ounces or 58 grams. A little big for a keychain, a little small for a handheld. I think I actually really like this size though, the more I used it. You have a pocket clip on here too, so this could make for a really bright, headlamp option to clip onto your hat, but these small lights are what I tend to use most, around my house and around the office. I don't go out to work day to day, so most of my flashlight use is in my apartment here, and these smaller lights are usually what I gravitate towards most of the time. It's USB-C rechargeable with the 190-hour battery life. The battery is not removable, unfortunately, but it's usually kind of the case with this style. You have the classic OLED screen from Nitecore. I always really like and appreciate that. It'll show the lumen output as well as the battery life and the remaining runtime. I love this orange color. As you all know, I've been obsessed with orange and yellow stuff lately. Overall, it feels really polished and nice. It comes out to $59 without any discounts. When I was originally checking, I thought it was on sale for $49. So again, I cheated the rules here a little bit on the under 50 list. Please forgive me. I've got one that's a little bit cheaper up next. This is the Wuben C3. Definitely not a new light. It's been around for quite a few years, but I'm just now getting the chance to check it out and test it out. It comes out to $25. And I think it still holds its own today, especially if you like just the classic, simple, no frills type of style. You know, newer flashlights have all these crazy features and crazy shapes and other options. You know, if you want something just bare bones, straightforward, utilitarian, I really like this one. It uses Osram P9 LEDs. You have 1200 lumens of max brightness with 170 meters of throw distance. Size was a little bit bigger than I anticipated from the photos. It measures 4.78 inches in length. You have 130-hour runtime. It's USB-C rechargeable, which is one nice, modern touch, but you also have a removable 18650 battery that's 2600 milliamp hours. So really great. You can swap that out over time if it ages out, but you can still charge the flashlight with USB-C if you'd prefer. Build quality feels excellent for a flashlight in this price point. It's an aluminum alloy build. It's IP68 dust and water resistant as well. Operation is extremely simple. You have one tail switch, do one full press to be able to turn it on and off, and you can do a half press to change the brightness levels. Does not get any more straightforward than that. I really also like the ergo. This one's a little bit bigger than I expected, but that means you just get a really good handhold on here. If you have, medium to large size hands like myself, I think this is a really great grip. Just very simple, utilitarian, bare bones, none of the frills and crazy, stunty type of features that you see in a lot of newer flashlights. I thought it was still worth checking out, and I think it would be a great pickup if you just want a good, sturdy, basic flashlight to have around the house. $25 is not bad. On that note though, that is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I always love doing these under 50 lists. Hopefully you can forgive me for cheating on a couple of them. They're all under 60, but that just doesn't have the same ring to it for the titling. Let me know in the comments if you have any budget gear you want me to check out for a future video. Let me know what you're using these days. Thank you all so much for watching though. I'll talk to you in the next one.